Starting this fall semester, it is no longer a requirement for those seeking a bachelor's degree in the College of Arts and Sciences to study a foreign language. Well, some say this makes it easier for students to complete their educations. Critics say this is cheating them out of a genuine liberal arts education that leads to better prepared members of society. Wyoming Signature's Irlanda Jacinto sat down with the head of the Modern and Classical Language Department at UW to discuss the benefits of knowing more than one language.
Professor Landeira, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very glad to be here.
So, how many languages do you speak?
I speak 4. English was the first language I learned. I also speak Spanish, Portuguese, and Galician. Galician is the language that they speak in the north of Spain, the part north of Portugal.
Huh.
So it's really Gallego-Portuguese, Galician-Portuguese combination.
Huh. Can you tell us some of the benefits of being bilingual or multilingual?
In Wyoming, we don't say that Spanish is a foreign language. We say it's the second language of the state. And it's important to be bilingual, and often you can start in school practicing. And it's one of the very best things you can do in school is begin learning a second language, any second language. Here, often we say Spanish, but there's, in the school system here also, you'll find French, German, Chinese. There's even Japanese now taught in Wyoming. And of course, some of the classical languages like Latin and Greek. So it's not hard to become bilingual in Wyoming if you start early and take advantage of the opportunities that there are in the school system. High schools, for example, often offer language programs. Now, what are the advantages of being bilingual or multilingual? It's a lot better to be able to speak to your counterparts in the business world than to try and go through a translator. And I'll give you an example of where a person who had taken not very much Spanish, but was the only person in her office in an international business where she was supposed to be the person in her office who knew accounting. She knew accounting very well, she knew all about the accounts, and she knew a little bit of Spanish. She was the only person in the office that knew any Spanish. They sent her around to Chile, to Cuba, to Mexico, to Spain to explain the accounts in Spanish. So just the little bit of Spanish that she got in high school ended up having her the emissary for her multinational corporation to all the Spanish countries in the world that now do their accounting by how she taught them. So it doesn't have to be a lot, but an open mind to learning the language, learning the basics, and communicating. And then you have no idea how many stories I've heard of people whose language skills have taken them around the world to enhance their other content skills.
But the University of Wyoming does not require students to take a language credit.
Not uniformly. The language requirement was discontinued last year. So this is our first semester when we're actually seeing students who are not required to take language. Some majors do require it. Global studies, for example, or English requires it. But there are lots and lots of majors where they do not say to the students, we encourage you to take a language. And it's a very much of a shame for those students, because if you come in, even never having had a language before, and studied language through the 4 years you're here, you would be able to really develop some skills that you could communicate in the language plus whatever else that you're doing. So we would really like to see that language requirement reinstated.
So, for example, business students or the stem cell students, the future entrepreneurs of our economy, don't have to take language.
The STEM students don't have to take language, no. The business students don't, but it would sure be a good thing if they did, because they could do business studies around the world, connect in many ways, and of course on their own they could learn a lot, because they would be able to travel to places and have a better enhanced experience in the places that they want to just be adventuresome, or also to learn the subjects that they're studying. Also, I think another place where the language requirement is really important is for people who want to dedicate their service to the military. So if they were to start here and learn some more languages, and there are amazing amount of languages that we do teach. We do have many of the critical languages we teach here: Chinese, Japanese, Arabic. Those languages, Russian, those all are languages that would help people who are doing political negotiations, any kind of military service, many things that you think, maybe my career won't require it. You'll find that it really will be a good thing for those careers. So it would help a lot if our curriculum, university-wide, did require basic language. And then once you get into languages, you can build on that and add each semester by semester more skills. And I guess if we had a goal, it would be for every student to have an international experience. For us in languages, it would be an international experience that included language. Some people can go to international countries where they speak English and they aren't required to have a language. We would like to see an international experience with a new language. But how are we going to get that awareness of diversity? How are we going to get internationalization? How are we going to get people to be able to negotiate in global business or in a global economy if they don't have some cultural appreciation, some competency of working with other cultures, and some way of connecting in a communicative way in the language of the places that they're visiting?
Thank you so much for being with us today.
I'm glad you invited me. Thank you.